Friends, in the previous video, we have configured AWS CloudSearch domain using Python SDK. In this video, we will ingest the data. Okay. All right. So the standard libraries, and then here we are using Boto 3 client with CloudSearch. Okay. And then we choose the domain name csdemo2. Now, as you can see from here, it already have some 10 documents. We will load some more data, but whether we are doing this the first time or we are doing the data incrementally, the process is exactly the same. Okay. All right. So load the data. Let me go full screen. All right. So then using describe domain, we can get the document endpoint and the search endpoints. Okay. So these are our document and search endpoints. Now, right. And then we can create separate clients for the document as well as for the search using this. As you can see from here, this does not have this https ://. So all we are doing is to make the URL, we are just prepending this https. Now here I have a file with this IMDb movies data. It's a JSON file, even though it's called this txt. Now this is the file which I have downloaded from the console. Okay, so this file is already in the format ready to be uploaded or to be ingested, right? I'll quickly show you how you get this file in case if you missed. So go here, and then so here, for example, let's take one of this one where we configure the domain, but we have not ingested any data. So go here and then upload the documents. Why is it? Upload documents to this domain from your local file system or S3. For some reason it's disabled. Let me try another one. Yeah. So if I go here, then predefined data. So here you have IMDb data, right? So just do the continue. And here you can download that file, which is exactly the file we are going to use. So this file has 500 movies data in this format. So it's a list and each element is a dictionary like this. Okay. So let's go back to the code, load data. All right. So we load the JSON file, and then if you look at the first element, as you can see here, it has 5,000 records, and the first element, this is how it looks like. And yeah, so we have an attribute. It has mainly 3 attributes. One is fields, which contain our document data up to this point, and the second one is this ID. So for each document, while ingesting the data, we need to have an ID. Okay. So in this case, the movie ID is used as a document ID as well. Okay. And we also need to specify the type, what we are doing. So here add means we are ingesting a new document. Now we might be updating some documents, right? For example, let's say we have already ingested this particular record, but we found out that maybe the release date is incorrect, or maybe the user rating is updated. So we want to update this data. So what we do is we still have the same data and same ID, but this time the type would be update. Okay. Similarly, we can delete the records or modify the records, etc. But when we ingest the data, we use add. Okay. So 3 fields. The first field is fields, which contain the actual data. The second one is ID, and the third one is the type, what operation we are trying to do. Now if you focus on the fields, it's another dictionary. Now so here we have a number of keys like director, release date, rating, genre, etc., etc. Now from when we configure the domain, we have defined the data types, right? For example, some to be integer, some to be text, and some to be arrays, right? For example, the directors, it's a text array, and also the actors, it's a text array because we will have multiple of them. And finally, genre is a literal array, right? So for these array type of data types, we need to enclose the data in the form of a list. Okay, so here as you can see, the actors, it's a list, the directors is also a list, and genres is also a list, but the only difference is we have predefined values for the genres. Okay, and then all the remaining ones, they can be either the strings or integers or floats. Okay, depending on how we configure our database, we have to be careful about if it is an array or not. Okay, so that's the format it takes. Now we can take this file and upload or ingest the data as it is. But often the case, we might have the data in the form of some CSV files, right? Because we don't, I mean, so what we will do in the next few lines of code is, assuming we don't have this file, actually we convert this data into a CSV file and assume that's our starting point. Then we do a bit of data processing to create the data in this format so that we can ingest. Okay. All right. So all I am doing is, so here we have this IMDb, which is a list of dictionaries. So we are going over this elements one by one, or movie by movie, and then taking the fields attribute. Okay, so we are taking only the fields dictionary here, and that's the movies list. And then the IDs list would be simply taking the ID from it, right? ID from it. And then if you look, obviously both will have the length of 5000. And then here I am creating a data frame, new pandas data frame from records. Okay, from records using this movies list. So using from records, we can create a data frame using a list with each element is a dictionary. So for example, the first element would be this one, right? It's a dictionary with these key value pairs. And second element would be another dictionary in the same format. So that way we can create a pandas data frame directly from the data. And then if you look at the shape, obviously it will be 5000 by 12. And then I am creating an additional attribute called ID using the movie ID. And then we have a couple of data types as integers, but when we load the data from these files, it is read as either floats or object, which is string. So what we are doing is, we are just filling any missing values for the running time as well as for the year. Okay, where is it? Yeah, year for the running time, and for year we are filling any missing values with 0, and then we are converting them into integers. Okay, and also we have another variable called rating, which is missing some values, so we are filling with 0 in case if it has any missing values. So basically we just created this data frame. As you can see, the directors, it's a list, actors will be a list, and genres is a list, but the rest of the columns, the normal text or int or double type columns. So here we have ID column. Okay, so assuming this is our starting point, we'll prepare the data in this format so that we can ingest the data. Okay, so we have a data frame, and then we are just doing the reverse. From the data frame, we are converting it to this dictionary. So this will be a list of dictionaries, which will be exactly in this format. Okay, but we will not have this ID and type columns. Okay, we will have the fields with all these. Well, we will not have the fields, but it will, each element will be just this, also including the ID element. Okay, all right. And then in order to ingest the data, as we saw, we need three elements. One is the type, the second one is the ID, and the final one is the actual data, right? So here what we are doing is we are going over these list elements one by one, and then we are creating a new list called movies. And while adding the elements to the movies, so we are adding these two new attributes. One is called this type and the other one is called ID, which is simply the movie ID. Okay, so basically we have added these two new elements. All right. Yeah, so that's what our movies is. And then if you look at the first record, we have exactly what we are looking for. Okay, so we have these two attributes, the type ID and then the fields which actually contain the data. So the fields will be another dictionary with lots of maybe the arrays, text, etc., etc. Okay, so each element in movies is a dictionary with these three elements. Now that we have the data ready, we can ingest the data. So here what I'm doing is I'm just taking the first 10 movies. We want to quickly upload the data and see if it is working correctly. And then just converting it to a dix before uploading the data. So here we take the search client and then upload the documents. The content type, this JSON, so which is what we have done here. We converted the data into JSON format. And then this is our data variable. Okay, now if it goes successfully, we'll get the response code 200. Okay, because I have already uploaded the first 10 records, let me do one thing. So let me do, okay, let's see what happens. Because these 10 records with IDs already exist, let's see what happens. Seems like it uploaded the document, but I'm sure it will not have duplicates. So we should still be seeing only 10 documents here. I think it is 2. Go back here. So we still have 2, the CloudSearch demo 2. I guess same data is overwritten because we have the same IDs. But if I do from, let's say, 11 to maybe, let's say, some 60, so we are adding, oh sorry, so I have overwritten this variable, right? Movies is equal to movies. Okay, I see what happened. Because we have overwritten, let's run the code quickly so that let's do this thing. Let's quickly rerun the code. All right, we are up to this point. Now what we do is we take the data from, okay, let's create a new variable so that we don't modify the original variable. So movies temp, then movies temp. So we JSONify movies temp and we upload movies temp data. All right. So here we are taking another 50 records. This domain already has 10 records. Okay. All right. And this time we should have 60 records. What's happening? Error occurred, document service when calling lexical error, involved character in JSON text. So we have some non-values in plot which it is not liking. So let's do one thing. If it has, let's do this. Is equal to movies fill in a. We have already corrected other fields. Let's fill it with missing. Okay. All right. Let's rerun the code. Yeah. So it worked fine. Now hopefully we should see some 60 records this time. Yep. So as you can see, we have 60 or 59 records. Why is the case? We probably have one of the documents overwritten. Okay, but let's download all the data. So we'll do from document 61 all the data. All right, we again have some missing values. So the release date, this supposed to be date, but we have filled the data values, the full data frame with missing right here. So it's not liking these missing values. So we have to be careful in case if we have an integer which is missing. So we might want to use a particular value. If it has a string missing, then maybe we can use this missing, should be fine. But for date attributes, we should have dates. Okay.